So we were able to paste our text here, and this is the font size we are using, 10 pixels. So with this panel, you'll be able to change your font sizes. Okay, and we are using font Inter. That is the font you are using. So we can use this one, Instrument Sans. It's actually similar, but we can use this in any other font we prefer. And this is where we pick the font width. Alright, so with this Instrument Sans, you can see we have regular, medium, semi-bold, and bold, and we have italic for various font width. Alright, and the Inter, when we select Inter, you can see we have vast majority of font width that we can use. So the font width that's going to be available to you really determines, or it depends on the font size or the font style you are going to use. Okay, so if you are choosing fonts, be careful with how you want your design to come up and choose the appropriate fonts. Okay, so let's close this gap here, and we are going to create another rectangle for, let's say, the user message. So the first message, it's from the AI or it's from the system, right? The chatbot. And let's create another rectangle. We are going to give it corner radius of 12. And before we move on, let me give you a tip. With these colors, you can give it styles. All right, you can apply styles to your colors. So with this, when you open this four dots here, apply styles and variables, you click on it and you click add here, and this panel will open. So we can write main color and we click on create styles. Okay, create style, and you can see it has added to our styles here. So let's close this panel, and now let's go back to this rectangle, and we are going to click the style panel here. And as you click, we can see the main color here, and when you choose it, it will automatically be applied to this rectangle without you manually selecting the color. So let's go ahead and align it centrally, and let's duplicate our text. Control C to copy and Control V to paste. Alright, so let's paste it here. So I'm going to reduce the amount of text in this second phase, okay, so that the difference will be clear. Okay, so let me drag it here a little. Let me reduce the spacing. Okay, so you can just hover here. When you hover on this line, this arrow is going to show, and you drag to close the gaps. Alright, or you can as well just reduce using the dimensions panel, the layout, and you can reduce the height or increase the height. It also works. Okay, so let me also reduce the amount of text here. Right, so I'm going to copy or select both, and I'm going to group them. You can right click and group selection, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl+G. So I'm going to group the selection. Alright, so I'm going to align it. I'm going to align the text in the group. So I'm going to align it horizontal and vertical. Alright. So let's go to the layers panel and click the group to select both. And I'm going to hold on shift to drag it up a little. And I'm going to make sure it's placed in the center. So at this point, I'm just going to make sure everything is properly aligned. Before we continue, anyway, I'm going to add more text to this side. Right, I'm going to add more text to this side and drag it down here. And I'm going to bring this group down here. So you can name the group in the layers panel. So I'm going to rename this as user message. Right, and I'm going to name this one as AI message. Alright, so because this is the first thing that pops up, and this is what follows, and the attention is going to be on this one, I would like to reduce the brightness of the AI message a little. Right, so you can just reduce it by dragging this selector here, but not too much. Alright, you can just reduce it a little bit. Alright, I think this is okay. So let's go ahead and create our button. So we are going to use another rectangle and let's draw over here. Let's go ahead and create this rectangle and duplicate the rectangle. So we are going to hold on Alt and you can see the mouse pointer has changed to a duplicate. So click and drag, okay, to the right and close this panel here. Okay, but first of all, I would like to give it a corner radius. Let's try 12. I think 12 is too much, so let's go with 6. Okay, 6 is alright. And let's duplicate it. Hold on shift as well to duplicate. And let's close this section. Let's increase this to make it look visually appealing. Okay, so this is what we are going to use as our button, and we are going to apply our styles to it, the styles we created earlier on. So let's click on this style button here and let's use our main color style. All right, okay, so at this point we are going to change the color for this one as well, and I'm going to pick a color from, I'm going to sample a color from the design and I'll increase the brightness a little bit. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put an icon here. You can draw with the pen tool if you want, but I prefer using the fastest way possible, which is using plugins. So let's go to our plugin panel. You click on this icon here, the Figma icon. You get your menu, you navigate to plugins and you go to manage plugins. Okay, and you can see icon 8. If you don't already have icon 8, search for icon 8 and run it. Okay, icon 8. So we already have it, and let's wait for it to load. And we are going to search for the send icon. I made a typing mistake. All right, send. Yeah, so okay, we are going to use this one. We're going to go with this, and let's scale it. Hold on, shift to scale proportionally, and let's place it here. All right, so I want to show you one thing. Let's group this tool. Okay, Control G. Okay, and let's go to this design panel, and this is layout, and this is called auto layout. Okay, so when you click on auto layout, you can see everything is adjusted proportionally, and with auto layout you cannot move things around. Okay, you cannot move things around. Since our button is ready, let's go ahead and create components. So this part, we are going to duplicate this home tab. All right, we are going to duplicate the home tab, or the home, what do you call it, frame. Yeah, so let's clean this here. Let's delete this one. We don't need it here now. Okay, and let's go back to our first frame. So let's say this message, when it's sent, this is what we get after it's sent. Okay, so let me clean this so that the difference will be very clear. And this button, we are going to create a component with it. So you come to the design tab, and this icon here means create component. So you're going to click on it to create a component, or you can as well right click it, okay, and create component. Okay, because I've already created, if you right click, you are not going to see that option, but selecting a new design and right clicking, you can create components. So when you create a component, you come to your asset panel here, and this is our component. You're going to click on it and insert it. So our component is ready. We're going to place it in our second frame. Okay, we're going to place it in our second frame. And one thing about components is I can go ahead and edit this style directly, and it will affect the second or the duplicate. Okay, but let's say I'm editing this one, it's not going to affect the original copy or the original component. So this is how component works in Figma. So if you are designing a lot of pages and you want to duplicate buttons, you can do it and change the styling all at once. So let's go ahead with our design. I'm going to duplicate this here, and I'm going to create a preloader page. So preloader is basically maybe some animation that loads or starts before your web page loads to the home page. Sometimes it's the logo, sometimes too you see some loading animations. All right, so let's create some and use it for our next exercise. So I'm going to pull this logo here, and I'm going to delete this one because I do not need it. Okay, so let's scale this logo a little. Okay, let's scale it to make it bigger. Perhaps it's too big. All right, this is enough. And let's use our type tool. What we are going to do is we are going to talk about prototyping. Okay, prototyping as in navigating on your mobile app or your web page. So we use this panel here on your right. Okay, prototype. We have the design panel, I have prototype panel. So if you're on the design panel, you will not get prototype. When you go to prototype, you will not get to design. Okay, so make sure you take note of that. And with the prototype, what we do is you have to set flow starting point. Flow starting point can be 1, 2, and others, but the first one is where your page starts from. Okay, so with the flow starting points, when you hover on this frame, actually when you're on your prototype panel and you select any frame, when you hover, you will see this plus sign, which means you want to add interactions. Okay, and it can be used for animations and all lot of stuff we are going to discuss throughout this design course. So let's set a flow starting point and let's create an interaction. Okay, so with this one, because it's a preloader, I'm going to do it after delay. Okay, so we can set your animation here, smart animate, and it will navigate to the home page. Okay, and you click outside to accept your change. And let's go back to this send button and drag it to the send page. Okay, you drag it to the send frame. Okay, so let's click on this to edit, and we are saying when we tap on it, when we tap on this button, it should navigate to send smart animate. All right, so if you have an error and you want to delete, you want to remove it, just click on it and backspace to delete. So let's say we are on the send page and we want to go back. We want to go back to our home page. What we are going to do is we have to apply interactions to the button that we are going to use to go back to our home page. So at this point, I want to use this icon. So I'm going to drag it, hold and drag and bring it back. And we are going to choose on tap. Okay, on tap. And it's going to navigate to the home page. So when you're done with your interactions, you have to come to this panel at your right. Look on top of the prototype, you're going to see a present here. And when you click on it, it's going to open on a new tab. Okay, so you can see our animation, which is the, let me refresh it. You can press R to restart everything. Okay, so this is our flow starting point. As you can see, after delay, it moves to our home page. And the home page too, when you click on it, on the send button, it moves to our send page. And let's go back to our home page. When you click on the home page or the logo, it go back to our home page. So this is interactions. Okay, and you can share here if you want to share your prototype. If someone is using a Figma mobile app, the person can feel it like it's on a mobile phone version. Okay, so with sharing your design, there are other ways of sharing your design. So let's go back to our design panel and let's click our preloader page. Let's say we want to save and share. Okay, you are going to go to your Figma icon and go to file and go to export. All right, so once you are on export, you click on export, it's going to export and download. All right, and let's say we want to export this mini frame here. There is another option we can use on our design panel. You come down here, you scroll down, you are going to see export, and you export frame 4. So let's say you are working with a team and you are done designing. Okay, one good thing about Figma is the teamwork. Okay, you can design and share for others to edit everything. Okay, so we have commenting. As when you're writing code, you can comment. When you're designing to with Figma, you can also leave a comment. So with this icon, which means comment or C for shortcut, you can comment on any side of your design. So let's make an example. We are going to comment on this button. Okay, so you click on it and you add a comment. So let's say a colleague sent me this design to review, and I'm going to make a comment like, let's say maybe color blue will be good. So I said maybe color blue would be good for this button. I'm going to send a comment, and as you can see on this panel, the comment has been delivered, and it will be here for any person in the team to come and see the comment. All right, so at this point you know pretty much all the basics you need to start designing your UI UI pages, So we're going to continue with this crash course, and we're going to talk about responsive designs and constraints. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. If you made it to this far, make sure you give it a like.